Yes, and that's okay.
I second the amendment as proposed.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of prayer 1, recommendation 1 as amended, say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Recommendation 2, that from the time that the Board of Trustees were set up in each community, Elena Investment should pay each community the entitlement through each Board of Trustees. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Recommendation 3, that each Board of Trustees should have a tenure not exceeding 3 years, that a member of such board adjudged to have performed well might be allowed a second tenure and no more. Those in favor of recommendation 3 say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Recommendation 4, that all communities with pending litigations should withdraw them from court, set up their own Board of Trustees which shall access accrued dividends on behalf of their communities and distribute or manage same as the community decides. Those in favor of recommendation 4 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And finally, recommendation 5, that the Rivers State government be communicated on the resolutions of the Senate on the matter to enable the state to take custody of this monitoring and management of the process. Those in favor of recommendation 5 say aye. I beg your pardon.
This, Mr. President, sir, because this, I agree with the chairman, and I want to appreciate the fact that they met with this particular group of people several times. The issues are very complicated from what we are seeing now. And, you know, we have to communicate with Rivers State government. Which particular, I see this recommendation and which committee of the Senate should now communicate with the Rivers State government. This is from the office of the clerk that will communicate, because whatever we have recommended here is Rivers State government that will see to the implementation of our own recommendation. We will not come from here to Rivers State to do that for the Senate, on behalf of the Senate. So Rivers State government must do this on behalf of the Senate. So I don't know.
It must be from the clerks of the Senate. So I'll put the question. Those in favor of recommendation 5 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Next report.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. Incident will record that on Wednesday, 23rd March 2016, Rising Order 41, Senator David Omaro, Niger East, drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from the Law Students Association of National Open University of Nigeria, NUAN, against the Council of Legal Education for non-inclusion of NUAN law student graduates in the Nigerian Law School program, and urged the Senate to look into the matter. In line with Order 41.3, the Senate referred the matter to the Committee on Ethics for legislative investigation. So, item number 6.0. That's item 6.0 on page 8. Observations and findings. After carefully studying the submissions and oral presentations of all parties, including that of the National Open University of Nigeria, the committee noted as follows. 1. That the National Open University of Nigeria was a creation of National Open University of Nigeria Act 1983 Cap and 63 of 2004. 2. That the close of the matter was the refusal of the Council of Legal Education to admit law graduates into the Nigerian Law School, which would enable them to be called to bar and to practice the law profession as barristers and solicitors. 3. That the Council of Legal Education and the body of benchers were the statutory bodies responsible for the training and admission of aspirants into law school, and they are called to the Nigerian bar. 4. That the policy of the statutory bodies was that the study of law must be undertaken on full-time basis in conventional and recognized institutions with duly accredited faculty of law for the provision of undergraduate studies. That this was also the position of the Professional Association of Lawyers in Nigeria, the Nigerian Bar Association. 5. That in accordance with National Open University Act, that is Section 13A, programs of learning run by NOAA should be through correspondence studies, and therefore NOAA could not be described as a conventional university. 6, that the policy of the statutory body has always been in public domain through newspaper advertorials and public notices, as on this day newspaper 27 March 2003, Daily Trust newspaper of 24th March 2003, Guardian newspaper of 16th March 2004, etc. And on the website of the Council of Legal Education, Nigerian Law School, and that this policy informed the scrapping of part-time and correspondent law programs in all Nigerian universities several years ago. And 7, that the committee is however, of the opinion that since other graduates with degrees from outside the country were always accommodated by subjecting themselves to 2 years of law school studies, which devotes 1 year to familiarization with local environment through launching them to the Nigerian Law School proper. Something similar could be done for the newest graduates to address whatever perceived deficiency they were inherent in their curricula, and then be given the privilege to go through the Nigerian Law School. Recommendation. In view of the findings above, the committee wishes to recommend as follows. 1, that the Council of Legal Education should admit into the Nigerian Law School the over 600 law graduates from the National Open University of Nigeria for a 6-month intensive training to address whatever perceived deficiencies, and thereafter spend 1 full year in normal law school program to enable them to experience call to bar and practice. 2, that the National Open University of Nigeria NOAA should stop forthwith the run of the law degree program and concentrate on programs that could effectively be accommodated in part-time studies. Mr. President, I want to say this, that before we arrived to this recommendation, there was an interface between NOAA and National Council of Universities with the Executive Secretary, and it was what was agreed with the Executive Secretary of National University Commission. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Lidani.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Joshua Lidani, presenting from the South. In the first place, Mr. President, it will appear that the committee restricted its interaction to the National Open University and the Nigerian Universities Commission only. It didn't invite the Nigerian Law School or the Council of Legal Education, which is the body statutorily empowered to deal with admissions into the Nigerian Law School, which to me is a very fundamental defect in this exercise. Nigerian Universities Commission has no jurisdiction on this matter. Therefore, the proper body would have been the Council for Legal Education and the Body of Ventures. And secondly, for them, the committee to recommend that the students of National Open University be given admission for 6 months, I think is highly misplaced, because there is no basis for that. The Council of Legal Education has rules and regulations guiding admission of students into its program. Therefore, we cannot just ask them to do an admission that may run contrary to the statute establishing the university. So I think, with respect to recommendation 1, I think the committee should go back and invite the Council of Legal Education, National Universities Commission and National Open Universities Commission for them to discuss and see if there's a way that this could be accommodated. Other than that, we cannot recommend that they be admitted for 6 months study and then proceed to the Nigerian Law School. Those who are admitted from abroad attend conventional universities that are accredited by the Nigerian Law School and Council of Legal Education. So there is a difference between that one and this one. Thank you.
Chairman, maybe you have a comment whether you were able to observation. All right, okay.
Thank you, Mr. President, my respected colleagues. James Manager, Delta South. Mr. President, I agree with Senator Lidani, acting minority leader, from A to Z about this submission, because this is about law and lawyers, and everything about the study of law is defined and there are laws for it. So there's no way, even the foreign students we are talking about Commonwealth countries, not just any country in the world. Students, those who have read law in Commonwealth countries, and Commonwealth countries that are accredited by the Nigerian Law School. They are listed. Not all universities. Commonwealth countries that are offering law and that are accredited by the Nigerian Law School. Those are the only ones that can be admitted into the Nigerian Law School for the compulsory 1-year study. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, whatever we do here, we want it to be enforceable. We want it to be, for us to be respected. Our decisions must be respected. Not for us to do something that will not be respected by, authorities outside of this place. And therefore, the recommendation too. The committee has done a good job, no doubt about that, in almost everything. But this particular one, Mr. President, I think it's better we refer them back to go and do a more thorough job by inviting the Council of Legal Education and the Nigerian Law School, and even the body of benchers. These are the 3 statutory bodies that are charged with the responsibility of training law students. So, Mr. President, I agree with Lidani that this recommendation too cannot fly.
Yes, and to Adjournment.
Mr. President, I am Barrow Chiplin. Mr. President, Nigeria should not be a donor to the Committee of Nations with respect to how students are taught in various education institutions. Mr. President, the Open University, almost every country in the developed nations has an open university. An open university is meant for those who are disadvantaged, probably because of one reason or the other. They are not able to go to the so-called brick and mortar institutions. And the inclination in this country is that once you don't go to the so-called brick and mortar institution, then any other school you went to does not matter. I mean, it's not as important as the so-called brick and mortar institution. Now, if you go to the ranking of all universities, you find out that some open universities are highly ranked, are better ranked than even universities in Africa. They are so good, they are means of, they teach very well. I think why should you visit the ranking of all universities? You see them, open universities in some countries are even higher than universities in Africa. Some of them, in most universities in Africa are not even up to an open university somewhere. All right. So what I'm trying to say is this. He said, open university, those who are in university in the Commonwealth countries, those universities are accredited. Is Nigeria not a Commonwealth member of the Commonwealth nations? It is. If you accredit those from overseas and you are refused to accredit your own, if there's any deficiency, correct that deficiency. Like the World Recommendation 2 is talking about, that there should be some intervention to make sure that these are well equipped. That should what should be done, but not to say okay they shouldn't go to go to law school. I think it's wrong. It's wrong. And even apart from that, what they are hanging on to the law school is that the law establishing Nigerian Open University is deficient in respect to what should be stated in such a law, and that law has been corrected. The bill was here and we passed it to get it corrected. It's now in the House of Reps for concurrence. So I think we should go with the first recommendation and take away the second recommendation. But we should strengthen our open university system so that we can give opportunity to those who are not able to go to brick and mortar, so-called brick and mortar institutions. Let's not stand alone in the Committee of Nations. It is done. Let's go in line with international best practices. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, yeah, I take your point, but I think we need to be careful here. We've come in line of a petition, so we've come in line with the petition, and it seems we're now going beyond the petition to make policy statements. I think we need to be very, very careful and restrict ourselves to what the issues are. Chairman, if you have not engaged the Council of Legal Education, the body of benches, and if you have not, I'm going to ask you, I'll give you a chance to respond. I think that would be the first place to go to before even concluding at all on this particular case. But I'll give you a chance to respond, to tell us whether you had the opportunity to engage with these different bodies before your conclusion.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, Mr. President. If you go to item 4.2 of this report on page 5, you will see a Council of Legal Education. Respondent, Mr. AOA Odadekos, SAN, DG, Council of Legal Education. They were invited. If you go to page 2, of course, we have National Open University, they were invited. If you see that of recommendation from that of the Executive Secretary of National University Council, where we had an interface with him, it was based on his recommendation that we arrived, which he told us that they invite people from overseas and return them for 1 year or so to be able to learn, if there's any literacy. So in that, when legal education came on board, there was argument. In the process, they said, okay, they are waiting for the outcome of National University Council, whatever they are going to decide on that issue. It is based on that, because they do the accreditation of legal studies and all that. It was based on that, we had an interface with the Executive Secretary one-on-one, and he provided this second recommendation of this report. And based on that, Mr. President, all those that were supposed to be contacted, were contacted, and we had sittings with them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, and to Binta.
Just like what you said, we should have to be very careful and see how we can deal with the 600 students, undergrads that are there. But if you look at page 6, the National Open University of Nigeria, number 4, that in 2012, NUC conducted accreditation visits to NUA, and among the course NUC granted accreditation was the bachelor degree in law, LLB. So I think instead of us scrapping it, as we said, with the accreditation that was given, I think, sir, on my own opinion, if we can step this and have a holistic review on this, than us to make a haste passage of this, it will give us a better chance to get into the knowledge of all this.
If I may suggest, don't you think this actually even requires a kind of a public hearing involving, I think what I would suggest if we agree is that your committee and judiciary should please organize a public hearing on this issue, because this is not really a petition per se, it's a policy that is being put into question, and they're just coming around using petition as a way of presenting it. If we agree as a recommendation, is to recommend that a public hearing is held by the two chambers, and then they make their recommendation before us. Yes, Senator, are you going to move that amendment? No, that amendment to the recommendation.
Mr. President, with some little amendment to your amendment, because I believe that what I thought, the area I thought we were going on the way was for us to do further consultation. Both all the agencies concerned, because public hearing might not really give up. But if we step this down a bit, meet like you said, bring back the body of benchers, bring the Council of Legal Study, bring NOAA themselves and discuss. I think it will be more to add value than public general.
But don't you think our own committee on judiciary and legal too should participate? Okay. All right. So you are proposing. So let's say then you are proposing an amendment to the recommendation. So go ahead, propose plus your little amendment.
Mr. President, my name is Senator Mar Ohuabunwabianot. My amendment is that the Committee on Judiciary, in liaison with the Committee on Public Ethics and Privileges, should invite the body of benchers, the Council of, the major stakeholders involved in this to look at these issues and resolve it for the benefit of Nigeria. Give appropriate.
Any seconder? Yes, Senator James Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President, my respected colleagues. I rise to, James Manager is my name, I rise to second the amended, the master of amendment of, I second the amendment, sir.
Yes, sir.
The board, kindly, I would like you to kindly also include the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Debt Fund.
Mr. President, I don't have any objection. I think the Committee on Tertiary Institutions is a very important issue in the committee. So let's all work together for the benefit of Nigeria.
So the recommendation is that the Committee on Judiciary, Tertiary, and Ethics should meet with the stakeholders, Council of Legal Education, Body of Benchers, all necessary stakeholders, and come up with a recommendation as well. Led by you, you still continue to lead it. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, next report.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. The Senate will record that on Wednesday, 25th October 2017, rising under 41, Senator Andrew I. Uchendo, Rivers East, drew the attention of the Senate to a petition from his constituent Amadi O. Stephen against the Nigerian Prison Service for alleged unlawful dismissal from the service, and urged the Senate to look into the matter. In line with Order 41.3, the matter was referred to the committee for legislative investigation. Item 5.0 on page 6, observations and findings. After going through the oral and written submission of both parties, the committee observed as follows. 1. That the petitioner, CSP Amadi O. Samuel, was actually enlisted into the Nigerian Prison Service on 24th February 1976 and worked for 30 years without any query. 2. That the petitioner, CSP Amadi O. Samuel, was not the officer in charge of the Port Harcourt prison and was not on duty when the jailbreak took place. 3. That the jailbreaks at Port Harcourt and Ogwaishuku prisons took place the same day, 17 June 2005, and that no other officer was dismissed except the petitioner, CSP Amadi O. Samuel. 4. That the appointment, promotion, and discipline of all senior paramilitary officers was the responsibility of the Civil Defense, Immigration, and Prison Service Board, but that the matter was not referred to the board for proper investigation. 5. That in October 2006, the petitioner was promoted to the rank of Assistant Controller of Prisons, ACP, 8 months after his dismissal, and his name was on the promotion master list, but was not recorded. Recommendation. Following the findings above, the committee wishes to recommend the petitioner, CSP Amadi, was to be reinstated back to service by the Civil Defense, Immigration and Prison Service Board because his dismissal did not follow due process. 2. That his promotion, which came after his dismissal, be investigated and, if in order, be sustained. Thank you, Mr. President.
Comments? If not, I'll go straight to recommendation. Those in favor of recommendation 1, that is CSP Amadi Stephen, be reinstated back to service by the Civil Defense, Immigration and Prison Services Board because his dismissal did not follow due process. Those in favor of recommendation 1 say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. And recommendation 2, that his promotion, which came after dismissal, be investigated and, if in order, be sustained. Those in order, yes, Senator Jokwe.
The committee had observed that his dismissal was not done by the board. So it stands to reason that the board properly promoted him because they did not investigate. They had nothing to do with his dismissal. So this recommendation will be contradictory. We should simply say his promotion, which came after his dismissal, be sustained.
Anybody just, well, do we agree to that? So yes, who second the amendment, Senator Binta?
Binta Masi Garba Adamano, Senatorial. I rise to second the motion or the amendment as moved by my brother from Plateau, from Nasarawa State. I so move.
Those in favor of recommendation 2 as amended, that is promotion, which came after his dismissal, be sustained. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
Finally, Mr. President, Senate will record on Wednesday, 28 March 2018, Resolution 41. Senator Andy E. Uba, Anambra South, drew attention of the Senate to the petition from Dr. Michael S. Obaleke against the Management and Governing Board of Radiographers Registration Board of Nigeria for alleged unlawful verbal termination of his appointment by the board and urged the Senate to look into the matter. In line with Order 41.3, the matter was referred to the Committee on Ethics for the state investigation. Observations of findings on page 4, item 5.0. After going through the oral and written submissions of the petitioner and the consequent reaction of the respondent to the matter, the committee noted as follows. 1. That the petitioner, Dr. Michael Obaleke, was actually enlisted into the Radiographers Registration Board of Nigeria in 2004 as a Radiographer 1, promoted to Assistant Director in 2011, and was later appointed to the post of the Registrar/CEO of Radiographers Registration Board of Nigeria in 2013. 2. That the petitioner, Dr. Michael Obaleke, at the end of his first tenure as Registrar/CEO of the Radiographers Registration Board of Nigeria, requested to go back to his former department as an assistant director, which was before the appointment in 2013, since he was not yet 60 years of age, nor attained 35 years in service, but was turned down by the governing board. 3. That some vice chancellors of universities and chief medical directors in hospitals under the purview of the Federal Ministry of Health, who had not attained the mandatory retirement age of 60 years or 35 years of service, returned to their offices in the university hospital after their tenure of appointment, while the petitioner, Dr. Michael Obala, was only for 3 years, and his request was turned down. 4. That the Management and Governing Board of Radiographers Registration Board of Nigeria, on receiving the committee's invitation letter, quickly restated the petitioner, Dr. Michael Obaleke. Mr. President, colleagues, following the findings above, the committee wishes to recommend that the decision of the Management and Governing Board of Radiographers Registration Board of Nigeria to restate Nigerian to petitioner Dr. Michael Obaleke is sustained. Thank you, Mr. President. Before, like I said, immediately the committee wrote the Radiographers Registration of Nigeria, they quickly went and restated the assistant director, and he has been reinstated. Thank you, Mr. President. That's what we have done.
Has already been attended to. Thank you so much, Chairman Ethics, and thank you all your members of your committee for your continuous hard work. Appreciate it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceedings on the other papers, I hereby move that the Senate do adjourn till Wednesday, 23rd May 2018 at 10 a.m. prompt.
Mr. President, I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, before I put the question, let me remind you that we should not forget tomorrow we're expecting all the service chiefs and head of security agencies following our resolution of last week. So for 11 o'clock, so please ensure attendance. All service chiefs are head of security agencies, that include SSS, IG, all and others. Those in favor of the motion that the Senate hereby adjourn to Wednesday, 23rd May 2018 at 10 a.m. prompt, say aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. The Senate is accordingly adjourned to Wednesday, 23rd May 2018, 10 a.m. prompt.